Good day everyone, so was Kokomi good before Dendro? Well, this seems to be a popular narrative that keeps on popping up wherever I look on YouTube, and the idea is that Kokomi wasn't good before Dendro, so if you did not pull on her then you were well justified in skipping her, but now she is an optional unit. And I think this entire narrative that people have around Kokomi is something that I want to address. So rather than give you a bunch of theoretical arguments, let's just jump into the spiral abyss, but I'm going to do so from a bit of a different perspective. We're going to be using the units that would have been available at the time of Kokomi's release, and not only that, my artifacts are going to be pretty average, in fact probably even below average for someone playing the spiral abyss, and I'm going to present to you gameplay that is very meh from a theoretical perspective. So any theorycrafters watching this, you'll be more than well justified to roll your eyes. In any case, so what I'm going to do is with mediocre artifacts and mediocre rotations, show you how you can still win with Kokomi in Genshin Impact 4.1. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to restrict myself to only having less than 1 minute and 30 seconds on the clock to beat the Spiral Abyss. Now, immediately I know some people might say, but look, you know, this is just cherry picking. Some Abyss floors are better for Taser than others, so this isn't really a good argument. And to that I'll say, look, I've got a YouTube channel with over 700 combat videos, and in these combat videos we use Kokomi in all of the past Abyss cycles, whether that's a Kokomi Taser or a Kokomi Freeze or a Sukokomon or with a clan variation in Beidou, etc. Kokomi herself, with very standard units that were available at the time of her release, can comfortably beat a majority of the Abyss cycles. If you don't believe me, there's more than enough proof on this channel, and I'm doing this from an F2P perspective. I'm assuming that the person watching this has an account that is more or less 3 years old or equivalent to what you're seeing, but you don't even need a 3-year-old account. Even a 1 or a 2-year-old account would have all of the tools that you can see that I'm making available in this run. And if you look at that, it's very simple. We beat the first floor very comfortably. All of this really points out that Kokomi synergizes really well with units that are considered to be really good in the game. Fischl, Xingqiu and Sucrose, these are classic units. And in fact, I would even argue that given Kokomi's flexibility in being able to slot in with different teams, and you being able to use her even on field or off field, or to heal or to take damage or whatever, means that Kokomi herself could arguably be considered a staple unit as well. And from that perspective, you would then say that, yeah, maybe since the beginning she had more than enough available in her kit for us to consider her to be good enough to pull on. Never minding the fact that you have a ton of overworld and other beyond or outside of the Abyss benefits to getting Kokomi. But for the sake of a discussion, let's assume that you really are the meta player and you only want to beat the Abyss as fast as possible. Yes, strictly speaking, there are better units for beating the Abyss as quickly as possible, but for the average player playing this game, having comfort and consistency in beating the Abyss is really what a lot of us are actually after. Mostly because you get zero in-game benefit, zero intrinsic benefit to beating the Abyss as fast as possible. Whether you do it within 1 minute or 2 minutes like I've done in the past, or whether you take the full 9 minutes for 12, it really doesn't matter from the perspective of the game. The only thing that matters is, did you beat it within 9 minutes? And from that point of view, Kokomi has done more than her fair share, and in more team comps and in ways possible than I think a lot of other characters would be able to do. For instance, you have characters like Ayaka and Shenhe, and yes, at the top end they perform fantastic. But a character like Kokomi is not tied to just playing freeze. She can play in other reaction-based team comps. This is what makes her so good, and I think this lack of acknowledgement of what she has always been able to provide people in the Spiral Abyss is something that is so irritating to me. I understand that people want to write the narrative from the perspective of it was okay to hate on the character because she wasn't really good but now she is, but I feel like that in and of itself is not true. It's not true given the history of the character, and it certainly shows a very naive understanding of why Kokomi is such a great character, and it's mostly due to her flexibility. And given her flexibility, her role consolidation, and all of these things, it is no wonder that with new units and new game mechanics releasing, she just naturally slots into those. And that is what makes her a staple unit in the game. Just one last point before we end this video. I personally also find it incredibly funny that whenever there's a new character, for instance like Yao Yao or Farina or other characters that are introduced into the game, that people always want to try and put down Kokomi. They'll always say, now it's finally the end for Kokomi, or Kokomi's finally been replaced. It's so interesting that Kokomi is very often the target of a lot of people. Whether it's Baizu or some other character, Kokomi always seems to be in the firing line, and for me it's just a testament to how resilient Kokomi is, because with all of the negatives and all of the hate that people always throw at her, she has continued to keep her ground and still be a winning unit, and that to me is just awesome. Thanks for watching.